Here we go. Oops. I like microphones. Really, I do. And today we're going to talk about mics, but they just don't excite me all that much. Why? Because there's this weird phenomenon that happens to us musicians. There seems to be an inverse relationship between the music that you make and the gear that you have. Sure, you need some gear to make music, but what I found is the more gear that you have, the less music you make. And I've got two quick stories that'll prove it to you. First, the sad story of Bob. Bob was one of my customers when I worked in sales at Sweetwater. He called up and wanted to drop 20 grand on a home studio. I said, "Sure, Bob. Have you done recording before?" "Nope." So I said, why don't you buy a computer, software, audio interface, microphone, headphones? Why don't we start there? So you can kind of dip your toes in the water, start to learn the ropes, and then we can always add the other things as you go. Bob was insistent. Bob wanted to wire $20,000 and have a big pallet of gear show up. So that's what we did. I got a picture from Bob a few days later, standing next to his big pallet of gear. I checked in with Bob periodically over the coming weeks and months, and all Bob ever did was get the gear inside, take it out of the boxes, and set it up. When I left Sweetwater a few years later, I don't know if Bob had ever made a single note of music. Why? Too much gear. His knowledge had not caught up to the amount of gear that he had. What he thought he wanted was a whole bunch of gear. What he needed was to learn how to do recording on a small scale and then scale it up from there. The second story involved this handsome fella. There he is. That's high school Joe. Yes, I had curly hair. Yes, I looked like a hobbit. No, it doesn't grow anymore. But here's the story. I got into recording in high school. The microphone that I used on my first full-length album was this thing right here. It is made out of plastic. It came with the computer. I plugged the 1/8-inch jack into the back of the computer and began to record. I made a whole lot of music that way. Then I go to college and I get a halfway decent microphone, a condenser microphone, and an audio interface. And I start making more music. But then something happens. I start to learn proper audio. I start to get a proper audio interface, proper microphones, proper speakers, proper headphones. And guess what? Didn't make no music. I was too busy gathering the gear and learning how to do it. Now, I know what you're going to say next. Joe, I've seen tours of Vince Gill's studio, and he's got a crap load of guitars. Are you telling me Vince Gill doesn't make music? No, but I guarantee he didn't have that crap load of guitars starting out. He made a crap load of music, so he can have as many guitars as he wants. Here's a question to ask yourself next time you've got a bright, shiny object that you want to buy. The question is, have I made music with the last thing that I bought? If the answer's no, ponder. Perhaps go make some music with that last toy you bought before you buy the new toy. That last piece of advice will save you thousands of dollars because you'll be distracted by making great music and you'll kind of forget about all the toys. Surely that's worth a subscription. Subscribe. Now, with all that said, you still need a microphone, right? So for this video, I'm going to share with you my top 4 microphone picks for you in your studio. These are microphones that I have used extensively and I love. Let me go grab them. And got it. Here we go. Oops. Okay, that could have gone worse. The one I dropped was the dynamic, so I think it's fine. There's a lesson there. But we're going to talk about these mics in order of which one I think you should get if you only have one option, and then there's some extra options there. So if you can only have one microphone, this is the one I would recommend. This is the Roswell Mini K47 from Roswell Pro Audio. My friend Matt McGlynn designed this beauty, and it sounds fantastic. Currently sells for around $389. It is, I would put this up against any mic. Any mic. It's modeled after those old 47 capsules, which are fantastic and so many companies try to do. Does it sound just like that? I don't know. I don't care. This thing sounds great. I've used it on countless recordings. It used to be the mic that sat here in these videos. The only reason it doesn't now is because of other things. It's nothing against the microphone. Fantastic. My wholehearted recommendation. This is a great mic. It sounds great on everything I've used it on, and Matt has used it on a lot of other things that it also sounds great on. It's one of those you really can't find a place where this doesn't work, from guitar amps to vocals to acoustic guitars to drum overheads to really anything. If I could only have one mic, that would be it. If you allow me two, or perhaps maybe a pair, it would be this beautiful thing right here. This is an Earthworks microphone. This is the SR25. I actually bought 3 of these years ago. They used to make a kit. It was called the Drum Mic Kit, and the idea was you could use 3 of these to mic a drum kit and to do it well. So kick and then overheads was kind of the idea. More like geared towards like jazz, I guess. But I bought it so that I could have 2 nice condensers, and actually traded the third one for this guitar. It's a pretty good deal, and ended up keeping this and its partner as my go-to stereo mic. So I've used these for drum overheads on just about every drum session I've had. These sound fantastic on acoustic guitar, especially if you do it XY. It is a beautiful, beautiful microphone. I've used it on just about everything, but especially acoustic instruments and drum overheads. It is fantastic. This sells for, I believe it's in the $600 range. So not inexpensive, but fantastic microphone. By the way, I've got links to these in the description below. This poor beat up soul is the third one on the list. This, I can't even hold it. This is the PreSonus PD70. This is a fairly new microphone. You can't tell by how beat up it is. But this is a workhorse. It's a dynamic mic. So it behaves a lot like an SM57, SM58. But it's, A, I really like the form factor, and B, it sounds great. My last EP with my band Stare Down, I did all the vocals with this. It's $100. It just... Something about singing into this versus singing into a pop filter and a kind of a fancy microphone, this just did the trick. I like it on guitar cabs. Tried it on kick drum, didn't like it as much on kick drum. But for just your general purpose dynamic mic that's not going to be quite as bright, can handle loud volumes, this is a killer mic for that. And finally, you've seen this one a lot. This is the PreSonus PX1. It's honestly not much to look at. It's just a silver tube, but it's $129 as of this shooting, and it sounds fantastic. If you've watched any of my videos in the last couple of years, it's likely this has been the microphone sitting right here. So you've heard this probably more than any other microphone. It just sounds great. It picks up the sound and does it well. Does it sound as good as this one? No, but this one is 3 times the price of this one. But it is a wonderful go-to solid microphone. If $129 is all you have to spend, get this and have a whole lot of fun making a whole lot of good music. You know what's more exciting to me than microphones? Recording stuff and making those recordings sound interesting and fun for the listener. I've got a 1-page checklist that will help you do just that. Go to homestudiocorner.com/checklist for more details. Otherwise, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.